It is now 12 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
I like your flag, Lou.
Thank you. Okay, we do have a quorum. I'm sure Rob will pop on in here in a minute. Okay, the minutes of August 5th. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of August 5th?
Commissioner Givens, so move.
Commissioner Connors, second.
Also move. Second. No.
Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Financial report and payment of the bills. We didn't approve the financial report at the last meeting. So this is the approval of the last couple financial reports. Do we have a motion to approve the financial report?
Earl Piner, so move.
Commissioner Givens, second.
Okay.
Any discussion on the financial report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Aye.
Okay, Lou, I think we've got the town administrator's report. Opening the request for proposals on the adaptive reuse feasibility study regarding the former council hall.
Yeah, Gene Minner.
I think Gene's handling that, or you got it?
Because she's the team leader on that
Gene
project.
is on.
I think she has all the bids.
Yes, so town of Elkton had
It's
Post
just
a
your camera, Gene.
oh,
It's like
then
cutting
you'll
off
see
top
how
of your
messy my
head.
desk is.
Okay.
So the town of Elkton had put out a request for proposals for an adaptive reuse feasibility study for the former Elkton Council Hall building located at 110 to 112 North Street.
We've got terrible connection today.
Yeah, we do.
You can't hear me?
I hear you. I don't know about anybody else.
Hear you.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I hear you. I'm a little late getting on because I had a bad connection, so apologize for that.
Oh. So we had a pre-proposal meeting on July 17th, and we had a number of folks attend that pre-proposal meeting, and the proposal submission for that feasibility study was due Monday, and we received 8 proposals to do that adaptive reuse feasibility study for that building. Do you want me to read the proposals and the proposed price?
Just read the name, the firm's name, and their bid price. That's all. Not the whole
Okay.
proposal.
So we had Design Collective with $24,360. Oh, to back up a little bit, this project's funded through a Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development grant, the technical assistance grant through the state. It is not a CDBG grant. We received $16,000.
16,000. Okay.
Yeah, so
thank you.
Design Collective's proposal, their cost proposal was $24,360. Buckhart Horn Incorporated, their proposal was $15,000. Kimmel Bogret Architecture was $13,500. There was also reimbursable expenses that were not itemized in there. Clark Reinhardt was $13,500. Cooperson Associates was $15,900. Studio Jade was $16,000. George Miles and Burr was $16,400. And Frederick Ward Associates was $15,510.
So you're going to take a look at all the proposals and you'll report back to us with a recommendation, because in this situation, since we've already got funding for 16,000, it doesn't necessarily, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that qualify. I mean, they all qualify, but Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Well, what you want to compare is the scope of work, what they're going to include in their proposal with the amount of the bid price to make sure that you're getting, the most for your money there.
Very good. So you'll make that, you'll bring us back a recommendation at the next meeting or two.
Yes. Mhm.
Everyone good with that, with the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Gene.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right. Lou, do you have anything else to report?
I think that was all we had. We had the bid opening for the adaptive reuse of those buildings. I think that's the only thing we had as an action item.
Very good. Very good. Okay, I guess the report for me, I just wanted to remind everyone, I know we got Dan Hanley, I think also on the call, or he was on the call.
Mayor, I apologize for interrupting, Mayor Alt, but I
Yes.
sent out a couple of days ago, I sent out a revised agenda and it had a couple of budget amendments on it. Hang on a
Okay.
second, I'm going to run it in there.
Yeah, I think it's 3 budget.
Actually, if Steve listen, you don't need to. Steve, why
Okay.
don't you go ahead and read the budget?
I do have them.
Okay, very good.
Okay, I have 3 budget amendments. They're all for fiscal year 2020. As is often the case, as we accrue bills and money comes in after the end of the fiscal year, they are accountable in the prior year, so we have to sometimes amend the budget. The first budget amendment I have is number 2020-14, is to recognize an additional $11,000 in zoning and subdivision fees and the related additional planning and zoning engineering expenses in the same amount. So that's to recognize additional revenue, additional expenditures in the amount of $11,000 for fiscal year 20.
And what was that budget number again, Steve?
2020-14.
Do we have a motion to accept budget amendment 2020-14?
Commissioner Givens, so move.
Commissioner Massman will second.
Very good. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion on this budget amendment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, second budget amendment I have is number 2020-15, is to recognize an additional $140,041 in highway user revenue, and that's to cover the street repaving costs in FY20. Again, we have an amount that we receive each year, but we're sitting on about $800,000 from prior year's unspent money. So any given year, when we spend more than we receive in that year, we can tap into what we have received in the past but not spent. So that's budget amendment number 2020-15.
Do we have a motion to approve 2020-16 budget amendment?
15.
Commissioner Bromo, so move.
We have I'm sorry,
Earl Pine, second.
and that was 2020-15. I went ahead of you and I already wrote down the next one.
Okay.
So we have a motion for 2020-15 and a second. Any discussion on that budget amendment about highway user revenue?
No.
No.
Okay, my
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And my final budget amendment is number 2020-16. We incurred an additional $2,595 in mosquito control spraying, and that is to increase that expenditure by that amount, and we will be budgeting that to be received from the anticipated fund balance. Again, $2,595 for mosquito control spraying.
Do we have a motion to approve budget amendment 2020-16?
Commissioner Givens, I bring forth the motion.
Earl Pine, second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the budget amendments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to find a better internet connection. Our internet connections are killing us here.
They're not usually bad.
Yeah, they're just, everything seems slow. And I'm inside the municipal building right now, and it's slow. To me, it's slow anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other budget amendments, Steve?
That's
We're
just
good?
those three. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to report, I see Dan's on the call right now, but Dan sent us an email. This weekend, the Public Works Department will be participating in a community cleanup. The following areas: Patriots Glen, Washington Woods, Meadows at Elk Creek, and Chapel Run. We're also going to be doing placed in the neighborhoods by Friday afternoon. So this is all good for our town to on our ongoing efforts to keep the town as clean as we can. Dan, we really appreciate you doing that. But that's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Givens, anything today?
Yes, I guess the community center is almost finished. I was over there last week. They were finishing up the flooring, and they weren't sure of where a lot of the markings and the lines went down, so I helped with that. But it's
Nice.
going to be a nice building for the community. I tell you, initially, I think they've done a great job. And Steve, are there any checks for me to come to sign?
There will be very soon, very, very soon. Are you in town?
I'm looking at you. Yeah, I'm in town.
Well,
Okay,
I
I'll
didn't know
stop by.
how far away you were.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks, Rob.
Okay.
thanks.
Commissioner Jean?
No, nothing at this time. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Massimiano?
Nothing really. I've agreed to take on a couple art projects downtown. I mean, that's kind of more on a personal note. I'm going to paint a Maryland flag on the side of Brookbend and some elk antlers in the back of Elk River. And then I told Mary I'd meet with her at the community center and maybe discuss doing something inside there for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Commissioner Earl Piner, anything to report?
I just have one comment, and I know I spoke to Michelle about this. I know she sent out an email, but when you're in your car on this Delaware Avenue situation, it is terrible. It's killing us. When they shut down, they come back and clean up, and then they clean up without you knowing the road shut down. It's a mess because people have to go all the way around either Blue Ball Road not Blue Ball Road, up the Lancey Road, or come back out Route 40. Or it's just we got to come up with some other solution with that Delaware Avenue closing down. In other words, they come back to pull out the dirt and all that junk. They done it the other day. We were aware of it when they put the sign up when it flooded. But a couple of days later, I know it rained, but they came back, and none of the people that are in the cars are aware of that until they get up on the turn. Anybody got a comment on that?
And is there signage, digital signage that we could borrow from the state highway to put like at the intersection of Delancey Road or even at Route 40 by Squires? Because I agree with Earl. There's been so many times that I'll make that turn and you don't realize that until you get to Whitehall Road. If you're coming heading north, and if you're heading from Delancey Road, you could have went up Delancey Road, but if you make it all the way down into town, you want to go across Delaware Avenue, and it's closed. You got to go all the way to 213 or turn around and go back around. It just seems like if we put placement of signs right there at the intersection of Route 40 and maybe one before you at the end of Delancey Road somehow, I think we can nip it a little bit. Maybe take a look at it, Dan. Tell us what you need.
I'll look into it.
All right.
With suggestions. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we touched base on anything. There's a phone number, 553. This is the time that anyone in the public has anything to say, they're certainly welcome to.
Hey, Mayor Alt. Yeah, it's Tim Rothermel. That's my old Connecticut cell phone number.
Oh, there you go, Tim.
Yeah, I would hate for all my friends and family to have to learn something new. But calling back to call in response to follow up from our meeting last week, actually.
Hey, Tim, could you give us your address? We didn't get your address the other day.
Yeah, 267 Thomas Jefferson Terrace in Elkton, Maryland.
Thomas
The
Jefferson.
zip codes. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, good spot down. But yeah, calling back to comment more on the hiring of the police chief meeting we had last week to follow up. It seems like the perspectives we made as far as requesting a collaborative process and wanting members from the community be involved was listened to, but not necessarily heard.
Mm-hmm.
And referring to the troubling line in the email we got back from Mr. Louis George that saying that once he finalizes a candidate, then he will move forward and engage. And in our opinion, that's kind of like putting the cart before the horse as far as what we were looking for in the search process.
Mm-hmm.
And to that end, we also had some people look at the job posting, and it seems the language we requested as far as, encouraging women and minority candidates to apply hadn't been added yet. So I wanted to make some public comment and request a meeting again with either yourself or Louis George or whoever, as far as talking through this process a little bit further, perhaps in detail about what the search committee could look like or the requirements around it, because the community behind us is demanding that we put this forward.
Well, listen, thank you for your comments, and I will give some comments on that right now. We did make a little language change in the, I think a substantial language change in the application that was done immediately, and I'm not sure if you saw it or didn't see it, but there was a change. The committee itself is going to be the elected body. The residents of the 16,000 residents of the town of Elkton have elected the 5 of us, and we have full moods. We have the confidence that we can do this thing very well with of course, Lou George has the under our charter. Lou George has the ultimate decision, but as I can assure everyone that Commissioner Piner, Givens, Massimiano, and Brumel and Mayor Alt will have a hand all the way along through this process. But we're not going to go with the Citizens Committee. I can make that very clear to you right now that we will not go with a Citizens Committee to pick our chief of police.
Okay. Any thoughts as far as possibly including a residency requirement to engage people who are committed to the community as a whole?
Those will be things that will be added on after during the interview process.
Okay, makes sense. So basically, I mean, I'm not going to belabor the point, but it sounds like it's not really going to be a collaborative process with the community.
It is a collaborative process when you have 5 elected officials who have over 250 years of living in this community combined. I think that we can make a pretty good decision with our residents, based on our residents.
Yeah, I respect that view, but it sounds like we have a significant amount of residents behind us that wanted to make their opinion more forward for this, and just wanted to figure out a way to better get them involved as far as that goes, because certainly there are things in a community where sometimes it goes beyond what the elected official's scope is if members of the community want to come in. And if, government of by and for the people, working for those in the community, I'm just suggesting that, when things, I respect the experience of everybody on this phone. I'm just suggesting that, we don't need to necessarily do things the way we've always done them just because we've done them that way.
I'd like to comment that I don't believe I know of a government in the United States that allows a committee of public people to choose who they hire and don't hire. I'm not sure how that would even work, because one thing you have to keep in mind is that when people apply for a job with the town of Elkton, they give us personal information. They give us their names, addresses, sometimes their social security numbers and things, and phone numbers, cell numbers. We're not going to disperse that to the public at all.
I wouldn't
we
expect
can't do
that, but on the call last week, it was mentioned that there was a search commit that I believe it was Commissioner Givens, if memory serves, but went through. There were various hiring processes in place for the Elkton police chief in the past, one of which that was listed was a search committee. So I'm inclined to believe that there's a blueprint available for it that can be done.
There is no blueprint for a search committee. I've been the administrator for 30 years, and I've hired every chief of police that we've had up to 1990. After that, I've hired everyone.
Basically, I did make that statement, but that was one time only about a committee, and that committee was done under Jimmy Krause when he was the mayor. But after that, I served 20 years or so here. You know, it was made in the charter that thereafter that the town administrator would make that decision. And I believe the time it was Chief Bruce Speck that was selected from that committee at that time.
Well, listen, Tim, we really certainly appreciate the ideas that you're bringing forth. I know that we're not going to agree on every idea that's brought to the table, but I can promise you that we do listen. We respect everyone's opinion, and this is the process we're going to go through, and it's the elected body is going to handle it. And I hope you respect that.
Always.
All right. Perfect, man. Thank you so much. Anyone else have anything for the good of the town of Elkton?
Yes, I want to know if Earl Palmer has a red tent that was left out there on the property.
All my tents are blue.
Oh, there you go.
And can we mention Earl's golf game?
Oh, there you go.
Coming up.
Well, listen, I'm going to put the end of this meeting as adjourned. Thank you, guys.